I'm not going to play a lot of the audio because I don't want to get struck. But there's something I'm about to show you that's absolutely fucking hilarious. So Colin Kaepernick, y'all know he has that was announced a while back, this Netflix special. And it's just so funny watching this guy, by the way, looking the way that he looks. Mainly because, he got this whole, he's wearing all black. He got his little black afro. I don't even know if his hair naturally grows like that. He is mixed, by the way. And I don't know if he's doing one of those Bob Ross type situations. Because if you look at pictures, his old pictures, like when he was with his white family that, adopted him and raised him, his hair wasn't looking like that at all. But that's neither here nor there. Fist in the air, I don't know, whatever. But, leave it to always these light-skinned cats got the most to say about race. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is what he did. Again, I'm not going to play the audio.
What they don't want you to understand is what's being established.
It's like funny, like this guy trying to be serious. Like he's all into this like pro-black shit, which again, this is like out of left field for this man. But basically what he's doing is he is comparing pre-draft physicals to slavery. And he's like, they don't want you to understand this, that this is basically what this is. You have no dignity left and all of this stuff. And as you can see, as these guys walk from getting their measurements from a physical as if they are in the NFL, now they move to slavery. So basically, according to this guy, this is slavery, even though they've done this for a very long time, including when with the league having white folk in it now and obviously have in the past. But apparently this is akin to slavery because you're taking wingspan and doing broad jumps. And then they go buy slaves, I guess. Now he's telling you this is akin to that, even though these guys are going to be making millions upon millions of dollars. I think to equate that to slavery, and this is where I have my issues with Colin Kaepernick and people who would dare say something like this, because what they really are doing is diminishing the impact of what slavery actually was. But see, and this is why I've always despised how, these race hustlers get out here and they immediately try to conflate things to how they were. And it's insulting to the people that obviously lived in those times. And some of those are your ancestors. I will not sit up here and conflate that to like slavery in America back in the gap, right? You are talking about people who are getting physicals, and I was a former athlete. This isn't unlike anything that even you do in college, where you get physicals and all of that. I was a collegiate athlete. I've been there, and I didn't compete at the professional level, but these guys get measurements, and these are also instances where you look at like combining. These are instances where people can raise their draft stock, right? So they actually get to perform better. And on that day, despite no matter how bad or good their collegiate career, you get people that will become monsters physically or showcase that they're monsters physically. And then that ups their draft stock. And then maybe they were falling out of the first couple of rounds, first few rounds for that matter, and then end up moving up. Maybe they were even going to go undrafted. But then they end up moving up because of how they performed at these combines, because it had, of course, the leagues wanting to take a gamble on them. So they're getting more. And the reason why it's so insulting to conflate that is because you're talking about people like slaves were not, for the most part, paid. This is why I've always hate the term slave wages, because it's an oxymoronic term. Because what makes a slave is the forcible use of one person to serve the purposes of another. At any given time with these athletes, they could opt the hell out. Colin Kaepernick, you know that better than fucking anybody, that if you don't want to play for the NFL, you don't have to fucking play for the NFL. Slavery, or rather slaves back in the gap, didn't have such a luxury. Okay. So can we please stop the immediate comparison? I know it's because of the shock value that it carries. People try to immediately conflate things with how they were when they were way worse instances, but you're being disingenuous and you're being dishonest, Mr. Light-skinned black person. In fact, if we want to go back in the past, you probably wouldn't be dealing with a lot of those issues, certainly going up to the 10s and the 20s and the 30s and the 1900s, because you probably would have been in Chicago passing for black. Oh, no, excuse me, passing for white. You know, that was a thing back in the Gap. I don't want to play this colorism. I'm just going to give you the facts. That was a thing back in the Gap where a lot of light-skinned cats would pass for white and get away with it. That was a thing, especially throughout the Midwest and all of that. There's a book called Passing I would encourage you guys to read. It really dives into this subject matter. I would encourage you guys to read it. You too, Colin Kaepernick. But please, just stop it. Just stop it. You are worth millions of dollars. I don't know. You might be making more now being this race hustler, Nike's lacing you up and everything than what you were in the league. I don't really know. But this whole draft combines and measurements and physicals are akin to slavery. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, come on, bro. Like, you ain't, who the hell are you kidding? I guess you're kidding a bunch of leftists, deranged leftists, that believe you. I don't know. And somehow think that you want to talk about power dynamic. That's what America has convinced a bunch of people, that the folks making millions of dollars are the ones being oppressed. Y'all need to understand, these are athletes that are more than likely, for people that are watching this video, they're more than likely going to make more money in a fucking year, and then with the upper echelon in a fucking week, than what you probably will make in your lifetime. Okay? And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I have no issues with people making millions of dollars. But I do have an issue with people looking at millionaires and looking at the power dynamics between, I don't know, them and the team and the owners and shit. And then coming out of that saying, oh, they're being oppressed. We could sit here and talk about maybe things that are more or less preferable in any given human affair. But to immediately try to conflate this or even compare to slavery, which is among some of the most evil, one of the most evil human atrocities that happened all across the world. And chattel slavery, of course, being in America, like in South America, North and South America. That was some of the most evil shit that has ever taken place. And you're going to sit here and compare millionaires getting fucking physicals to that? Again, I really do think that makes you a piece of shit. I think it's safe to say that. You just watched a clip from our podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.